Hi there. Before you jump into this episode, we want to make sure our listeners know about the How Do You Drew Patreon page, where we release exclusive content for our members.
We've shared unedited video versions of podcast episodes, rare Drew Barrymore photos from our digital archives, movie commentaries, and so much more.
We're currently working through a deep dive of each chapter of Little Girl Lost, which, if you don't know, is Drew's out-of-print autobiography released when she was only a teenager. And it's been really good stuff, you guys.
There's already plenty of content to dig into and lots more to come. So join now for as little as $1 a month and support us at How Do You Drew.
Yeah, go to patreon.com/howdoyoudrew to join today. Thank you.
Enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is the Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewseum.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Media.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley. And we are the Giggle Girls.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm in such a good mood right now. And also I know, and it's good, but we also have to start this episode on kind of a little bit of a dark note, but maybe it's good that we're bringing a lot of heart to it. So before we get into this Little Girl Lost wrap up, which is like a big deal, we wanted to take a moment to dedicate this episode to someone special, somebody in the Drewbie community who a lot of you know, Bob James Monday, passed away earlier this year. And we haven't had a moment to mention it. And it just felt like this is a time, maybe a lot of people will be coming here to listen to this episode. And we know him as James.
Yeah.
James, we loved him. I mean, we can kind of go into the background for those of you who don't know who he is.
Yeah, so James was the husband of Missy, and James and Missy, from what I recall, they actually met because she hired him to help her start a Drew fan site. That's what I remember,
right.
Which is so like just there's Drew being someone else's origin story, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, this is like mid-90s, and Missy ran these incredible fan sites and the Grapevine, which was the message board where Anne and I met, and so many of our other Drewbie friends. So it was a very sweet, wonderful community. I like to think that sort of like the spirit of their websites are like totally in the DNA of everything Anne and I do, the Drewseum and How Do You Drew. It is like we are trying to keep that, you know, that spirit alive of what we used to feel back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like, I think we've mentioned like Missy a bunch here and there, but I think that like, unless you were like there with us, you might not even realize how formative that all was. And it has everything to do with Missy and James.
And we wouldn't even know each other, let alone anything else. But like, I don't think we would be doing this without like what they had built, you know?
Like, because it built like such a foundational like Drewbiness in us that it's like, that is like
totally
to who I am. God. It's foundational. Like, I don't know. Everything about it like built our love for each other and Drew. And anyway.
Totally.
So it's important for us to mention here, if you knew James, some people know him as Bob. A lot of people in his regular life knew him as Bob, but I got a chance to meet James.
I know. I'm so glad that happened.
I think it was in 2014. I was trying to remember the year, but Missy and James went to Disneyland, and I got a chance to meet them both and spend a few hours with them with Jolena, and I'm so grateful that happened. And Missy, if you're out there, we're just sending like so much love your way.
Yeah, to their whole family. Like, it's been really heartbreaking, and we've been trying to find the right episode to dedicate to him. So because Little Girl Lost is just such a like OG Drewbie thing, I guess I feel, and because of what we accomplished with this episode, which like would never have happened without what they built.
Oh my God.
We want to dedicate this episode to the memory of him. So we miss you. We're sad.
We miss you. We miss that community, and I'm so glad a lot of us are still here, including us. Party.
Okay. Should we take a turn?
Yeah, let's take a big turn, get into some Drew stuff. it all relates, guys.
Yeah.
It's all
That's all we're here to talk about.
Right. So let's talk about this new old discovery. So wild.
We love a new old discovery.
Right. So in 1981, Drew apparently did a commercial for a Canadian restaurant called Smitty's. And they just posted it on their Instagram?
Yep. Just this past week. It is so cute. Like, we didn't even know this existed. We know that Drew did a lot of commercials as a child, and we probably know of like 7. There's probably so many more still undiscovered, right? Yeah, she's in this really cute like tap dancing outfit, and she's got like a puppet. It's a little confusing. I don't really understand the premise, but at the very end, it like cuts away to her sitting in the restaurant with her mom, Jade. I'm like, oh, of course she had to get herself a little.
Of course. I'm actually going to play it because it's short enough and the audio is really cute. So let's listen to it.
Smitty's has lots and lots of stuff for lunch. That's good. Smitty's has lots and lots of stuff for lunch. That's good. That's better. Smitty's has quick, fast service. Come to Smitty's and make yourself a ho-ho.
So it's really cute. It's really kind of hard to hear what she's saying because she's almost like so young.
Hey guys,
she's like,
what's wrong? It's giving a little bit of that.
It's like earlier than that. So it's like, right? I mean, it's how much earlier than that? Probably
just a little bit, maybe a couple months. I don't know. Yeah,
but it's
close.
So cute. So you guys have to go check it out because it's adorable.
We will link to it on the episode page on howdoyoudrew.com.
So new old stuff is always going to get us excited.
It's my favorite thing in the world, new old stuff.
It's the best. It's the best. Talking about things we love.
Great segue.
Tell us what Drew proclaimed her love for recently.
I love love.
Okay, none of these should be a surprise. Drew loves a suit.
Yeah, of course.
She loves Stephen Colbert's wife, as she loves to proclaim that too.
Yeah, is Evie here?
Yeah. And did you know this? She loves her children.
No way.
I know. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. Also, she must have just not said it in those exact words for it to be new, right?
I double checked the list. It wasn't on there.
I mean, if you guys don't realize, these are all new things. If you haven't looked at the site, there's this really adorable page that Ashley has curated of all the things that Drew's proclaimed her love for since we started this podcast.
It's pretty fun.
It's
so I
really
always go
fun.
double check it. I'm always on that page, Control F. And most of the time I'm already got it.
Right. I think we had mac and cheese way late in the game and we were super surprised.
Totally.
Okay, so let's get back into it. So what did you pull for the Drewism of the week?
You know, those cool little isms that we do.
Okay, this is Drew talking, as she has many, 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 many times, about how she is really learning how to stop speaking to herself in an unkind way.
And then this is all new to me, so I'm like a wobbly calf that just got born.
I love how her wobbly calf sounds like her turkey sound.
That's perfect.
So cute.
Guys, this is one of our favorite things. All right.
Yep.
So we have some of the really fun stuff. And guys, it has to do with us. So that's kind of fun. Let's go to our mailbox.
You've got mail.
Okay, the first one comes from Instagram, some comments from @dgirl424. And they say, how did I not know about you until tonight? Hello from your new follower and podcast subscriber. You will literally make my days so happy. I can't even begin to tell you how much I've needed this in my life.
Aww.
Yes.
Thank you, D girl. I hope you're listening so you can hear us shouting you out. And
thanks for finding us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. This other one is so sweet. It's one of those that when we get them, this is why we do this, right?
Totally. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. So this is a DM on Instagram from the podcast All the Film Things. Also that it's another podcast is always so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So hi, Anne and Ashley. My name is Elizabeth, and I just wanted to say I love your podcast. I listened to your Marilyn Monroe episode and thoroughly enjoyed it, from the research you put into it to your dynamic as longtime friends and fans of Drew. Your passion for her is clear, but I especially loved how you both exuded the same upbeat, bubbly demeanor that Drew naturally has. Like Drew, you brighten people's days through your podcast, so I look forward to listening to your podcast more and more. If you could see our faces right now, we're just like,
I know, we're both like, try not to cry.
That's so sweet.
So sweet. So sweet.
Yeah, it's why we do it.
Throw that in here, please.
Yeah, sure.
So sweet.
Elizabeth, thank you. Also, Elizabeth and I have been DMing a little bit more, and we're talking about maybe guesting on her podcast.
Cool.
So, yeah. Exciting.
Yay. Oh, that's very cool. But yes, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Yay. We do it for you.
She's definitely like one of us. You know what I mean? Like
I love that.
By her
one
messages.
of us. All right. We were going to go to the kind comments corner. We were kind of just there, but we're going to go to Drew's. So here we go.
So sweet.
Any excuse to use that sound clip.
It's adorable.
Okay. This is a comment on an Instagram video of Drew meeting a therapist in the Drew Barrymore show audience who told Drew that she had always been her role model. Totally get that.
Totally. So the comment is from @FroggyBun. Adorable name. I love it. It says, what I love about Drew is that she has likely heard sentiments like this over and over again throughout her life. This woman is not the first person to tell her, you've been my role model. But it doesn't matter because Drew still absorbs what she's saying and really listens. She receives the compliment and it moves her to tears. Drew has also been my role model for this very reason. She is so real. She doesn't allow being rich and famous to keep her from having real connections with real people. So true.
I mean, absolutely 100%. 100 emoji stamp.
Yep. Stamp right on that. I mean, I guess I'll just comment about that particular thing. Is like Drew does not realize that she's Drew Barrymore. Like she knows it, but like her security, I think we've mentioned this before, like told me like, yeah, I have to constantly like try to tell her stop like touching people, like stop like letting people hug you and like, and anyway, she's not going to stop doing that because that's her.
No, that's why we love her.
And she is that.
Yeah.
that is her. Anyway, great comment, Froggy Bun. Also great name. Okay, let's go back in time a little bit and see you pulled for this week in Drew history.
Okay, September 9th, 2002. Very recent to us, right?
So recent.
Okay, there was filming that happened on the beach at Zuma Beach in Malibu.
Hey, back to the beach, guys.
Back to the beach water.
If you know, you know.
The beach scene of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. So we get those hot dog on a stick costumes. Cameron's in a bikini to surf. Demi Moore shows up for the first time.
Is Drew Annie in that?
Yes, that's the one where she's Annie,
yeah,
right? On her name tag.
I'm pretty sure.
Just for you. Actually, I think it was like a reference to the movie Foxes. Is that right?
That sounds familiar. Let me see. Okay, it's Foxes.
This was a very big deal. Filming had like just kicked off. I think we'd only gotten like a couple other pictures before this one. What's to say? This was such a big deal. It was amazing.
I mean, you already mentioned Demi Moore. The Demi Moore thing was huge because like, she hadn't done a movie in a long time and she was like in a bikini. It was a huge deal.
Oh, she was 40 in a bikini. Crazy.
Oh gosh. Okay. So also just have to like, if you don't know what the hot dig on a stick costume is, like you haven't like, if you don't like remember that off the top of your head, it's like worth looking that up.
Yeah, we'll definitely share some pictures.
What's one of the coolest things that is worth talking about in this is from the Flower Press, like magazines randomly.
Yeah. And Wildflower. That's where these pictures appeared.
Yes. So incredibly beautiful selfies of Drew in the mirror. When you look at them at first, like I think we both thought like, oh my God, these are from like the early 90s because she's got curly blonde hair.
Yeah. I thought like Bad Girls era. I thought like 93.
Right.
Yeah. It totally tricked me. It's a wig. You can't really tell in that picture. You can tell in the movie, but...
Right. Those pictures are beautiful. They're black and white. They're taken with her like camera that I also love.
Oh.
And she also, one of the cutest things in the scene is she's got the word crush with a star written on her arm. So it's like, I think a couple times in this movie, she's got stuff written on her arm, right?
There's one other, I can't think of what it says off the top of my head, but when they do the like dance scene in Natalie's new place when they're moving in, there's something on her arm in that. Drew loves writing on her arms, if you guys don't know.
There's also something on her arm in the not the dirt bike.
Oh yeah, that one says jerk, the monster truck.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, she was definitely really into the writing on the arm for that movie.
Yeah, she was. Okay, so there's so much in this episode before we get to like an amazing episode. So let's run through a couple more like great things worth mentioning though. So what's new with Drew?
Here we go with the news, everybody.
All right. So as I correctly predicted in our last episode, finally, there is a new Love Drew segment in Us Weekly. If you guys don't know what that is, basically since Drew magazine folded at the end of last year, they are now doing these mini versions of that in Us Weekly. It's supposed to be quarterly. So the September 1st issue, my library, John Stamos is on the cover, but you found it in person, and
Taylor Swift and whatever the Kelchi dude is, they're on the cover together. We don't even know.
Couldn't care less.
They're on the cover on mine with a little like John Stamos in the corner. Anyway.
Okay, so check your issues. There's 11 full pages, which is amazing.
Which is so cool. Yeah.
I know. And it has all those same features from Drew magazine. So there's like her playlist. There's a travel feature, must-have products, Dear Drew advice column. So yeah, check it out. There's new photos taken by Ramona Rosales that apparently are for Flower Eyewear, even though we cannot determine that that's actually a thing.
I think that they just like take things for Barrymore brands and then they use them everywhere.
That's
like,
totally how it feels.
It has
which,
to be.
Makes sense.
It makes so
there's
much
like
sense.
a part of me that doesn't like it.
Wants new stuff.
And it just feels like disorganized. It's a way that I organize things.
I feel like it feels dishonest.
Yeah, lazy. Let's just talk about how much we hate it.
We love Drew. We love this Love Drew segment. It's so fun. I mean,
I know.
I do think there was a really like touching response in one of the Dear Drew letters that like got me. I remember thinking they always are great. So anyway, check it out. Get a copy. I mean, if you have a library card, a lot of libraries have these for free, right?
Yeah, I mean digitally. That's where I got all the images. Yeah, you can look at the whole thing through your library, which is great.
Anyway, go libraries.
Okay, here we go. We got more. I'm not going to read this full list, but a lot of the guests that are announced for season 6 of the Drew Barrymore show have come out.
There's some good ones.
The show will already be back by the time this episode comes out, but just real quick, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, Jennifer Aniston, Jessica Chastain, David Letterman.
That's fun.
Definitely excited about that and feeling very inspired about that right now.
Totally.
See what that means later. Anybody else on this list you want to shout out?
I mean, did you say Martha Stewart? I feel like that's kind of always a good guest.
But she comes on a lot. But
does she? I don't know. Yeah, so I feel like it's fun. I'm excited to see David Letterman on her show. Has he been on at all?
Maybe, I remember he surprised her on her birthday. The first time they did a birthday episode for her, he surprised her. Oh. And it was amazing. And it was so like full circle because of his birthday, the flashing. And again, I'm inspired.
That's going to come up a little bit more. So a couple more fun things because Drew just can't stop right now.
The drought is over, guys. Hibernation has been complete. She is out of the cave.
Drew drought over. Drew drought. I feel like there's got to be another word in there that makes it alliteration. Okay.
Drew drought is done.
Drew drought is done. Also, the Drew drought departure has happened. All right,
so that 5 times fast.
Drew drought departure. I can't. Okay, Drew's been announced as a presenter for the Video Music Awards, which feels like so random, and it's been
so random.
Is the last time like definitely the
there was like a virtual one. I don't even know what these shows are like anymore.
Right.
Hopefully this isn't virtual. I guess we can't say for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever going to compare to 1995 when she showed up in that black gown and that blonde wig and presented to REM. Like,
so I guess
sorry.
Is this happening this weekend? We're recording before it's happening. Well, maybe you'll have something to say about it next week. I mean,
hopefully.
I mean, yeah, if it was really cute, hopefully.
If it sucks, we won't even mention it again.
We will not mention it. But speaking of cute stuff, there's another commercial for Garnier. I feel like it's maybe been a little while since they've done them. And this one is like for the National Parks Foundation. And it's so cute. I'm such a big fan of the national parks, and it's adorable.
They probably filmed it at the same time as the other one where she has like the big postcards.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
Totally.
It's like a continuation of that, but adorable.
Totally. It's totally cute. Like the jean shirt is really cute. She's wearing like a big belt. I don't know. It's adorable. Anyway, very cute. Another thing to look online for. It's adorable. It's an ad, but it's adorable. And we love Drew. So it's all right if she just keeps doing these collabs, right? All right. And then we still have a couple more things, guys. So
I know.
There's because the show is coming out with a new season, they have new artwork for the Drew Barrymore show.
Well, clearly they are in our DMs because I was messaging, or our text because I was messaging you complaining that I can't believe they haven't released new image for the new season. I'm so mad. They're so lazy. Right. And then there it is.
Well, I said something like,
oh, yeah.
I think I said something like, oh, they wouldn't want to lose the mac and cheese vibes of the old photo shoot. And then the new one is exactly the same colors. It looks just like Kraft mac and cheese.
I mean, someone is definitely reading our messages. That's all I can say. That's the only explanation. No, it's beautiful. She looks great.
She looks great. I love the, I was just going to say that, Ashley. I was going to say, I love the velvety shoes. Like it's
so
the
cute.
Velvety that makes them so cool. Anyway, she's looking beautiful as always. Guys,
again, share that on the episode page as well if you missed it, but it's on Drew's Instagram, so you probably saw it.
Right. And I don't know if we're talking fast enough, but we got one more cool thing.
Oh my God, last thing. Okay, so last night, as of this recording, Drew was a surprise last-minute guest on Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which is always fun. They have a great connection, and because this is funny, again, someone's listening to us, it's the universe. The last time she went there, we were talking about how we'd never really realized that they film in the Ed Sullivan's theater, which is where Letterman was filmed.
So she was like, there tons of times.
So much history there.
Yeah.
So she brings it up, and she's talking about how she had so much great time with Letterman in that studio, and she's trying to do the dance. She's like, even says,
you want me to do a little dance for you? I promise you I don't.
Are you sure?
That was just a joke.
Says it almost exactly.
Must have watched it right beforehand. And she gets up on that desk and does not flash him, but she dances.
But she dances, and it's so cute. So cute. And underneath this, like, adorable, I love the outfit she was wearing. Those shoes were really darn cute. She takes them off, gets on the desk, takes off, or I guess she takes off this jacket thing first, and on the back of the shirt is like bedazzled "We Love Steven." It's so cute.
Matthew Kilgore did that, of course.
Of course, I kept seeing him post it.
Yeah.
Oh, is Colbert ending?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, and it's pretty like,
I know, it's pretty weird, and like they don't understand why, and he might have said something about Trump.
It's like
right?
problematic that it's CBS. Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
It's somewhat political, maybe. Colbert is beloved, so people are up in arms, including Drew. She loves Steven. Anyway, it was so cute. We can't get over how cute it is. Well, we're going to talk more about this, guys. Stay tuned.
The only other note I made, their conversation's great, so go watch it. But I was a little shocked because we are deep in Little Girl Lost, as you're about to hear. I was a little shocked to hear her just openly tell the story about hiding weed under a Motel 6 mattress in New Orleans during an RV trip and forgetting it there. And we know she went there in 96 with Nancy on their RV trip. There's a chapter in Wildflower about it. So I was like, it was just a little jarring because, we're talking
just talking
so much
Drew.
about this.
Yes,
and her breaking her sobriety by smoking pot. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
I also feel like maybe it's because, like, I don't know. I feel like I am surprised to like know that Drew smoked then, but also like not at all.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly how I feel. It's surprising and it's not.
Right. But it's also like such a fun little fact to just be casually tossed out when we're going to get into the drama of Little Girl Lost momentarily. So after these messages.
Hey, Droobies. We are here to tell you about our website hosts, Positive Medium, and they sponsor the podcast. We've been clients of theirs for over 10 years, and we use them for all our website needs on thedruzium.com.
Their services include customized web design, professional coding, search engine optimization and marketing, plus hosting, which has been huge for us for many years.
Plus, their incredible customer service has been one of our favorite features. They've literally saved our site quite a few times, and they always help with minor troubleshooting in a matter of minutes. So whether that's coding issues or back-end questions, etc., we reach out, we get help immediately, which is just invaluable.
Lucky you. To our listeners, Positive Medium is offering 25% off any managed WordPress hosting plan using our promo code DREW. That's DREW. Visit our friends over at positivemedium.com. Thank you. All right, so let's get into the weekly topic. We have been working on this weekly topic for a year and a half. I mean, literally, if you look at like all the work we've done, if you've been following on Patreon, I hope that you have. If you haven't, let me just like put a little reminder.
Patreon.com/howdoyoudrew.
So
truly.
Yeah. So we have covered the entire Little Girl Lost book, chapter by chapter. So we have 16 episodes, like literally deep diving on each chapter over there. And it's all in honor of its 35th anniversary, which is this year, which is crazy.
Yeah, we tried to wrap up this by February, so it would like be the anniversary. That didn't quite happen, but we still made it in under the wire.
we still did it, guys. We still did it. But if you want all that information that we dug out, that Ashley like literally like pulled out of the dregs, nitty gritty details, named names, like they use like fake names in this. Excerpts from the chapters, because we're not going to read a lot of it here. We just have so much to get through. And lots of like our personal opinions and all that stuff. You have to go to Patreon because there's so much, and we are like the select few that have listened. Thank you for hearing it all, and you're just going to hear a summary of it now.
And guys, it's $1 a month, and you'll get not only the 16 exclusive episodes going through every chapter, but a lot of like supplementary stuff, magazine articles and photos that go along with this. We did a lot of work. We love it. We've been just enjoying this project immensely. And now we're going to wrap it up in like a giant summary with an unbelievably special ending.
I mean, do we even like tease it here? I don't know if we do. If you're looking at the title, you know what's going on. We won't even say it. Maybe we'll say it in a minute. All right. So trigger warnings. I know we're in such a good mood, but like also, if you know anything about Little Girl Lost, it's about what Drew went through as a like recovering alcoholic drug abuser. So it goes over, I don't know why I'm laughing, abuse, addiction, self-harm, and talks of suicide. So this is all just putting it out there. This is an intense book.
Gotta do a little content warning. Exactly. I mean, let's just read the front of the book blurb. Right there on the front of the book, it says, "A child's star descent into addiction and out again." We could just wrap it up with that. Should we even like talk more than that? That kind of sums it all up.
Let's just not even do the show.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I think the back of the book, because it, we're going to summarize it, but also like it's interesting what they decided was like, eye-catching. So the first thing is a quote by Drew from the book. It says, "I had my first drink at 9, began smoking marijuana at 10, and at 12 took up cocaine."
Also, just to be that person.
Yeah.
Her first
Wrong
drink
dates.
Was at the Firestarter wrap party, which would have been 1983, which would have made her 8. Just saying.
It's wrong on the back of the book.
But Drew never knows how old she was or when things happen, so we'll give her a pass.
She didn't know then. All right, so I'm going to read the kind of like summary on the back of the book. It says, 6-year-old Drew Barrymore became America's adored child star as the wide-eyed Moppet Gertie in the film E.T. 3 years later, Drew succumbed to the addictions that had haunted the Barrymore family for generations. As Drew's acting career took off, doors opened for the charming star, including the doors of late-night clubs, where soon she was a party girl trying desperately to keep up with her older friends. Yeah, if you want to hear how much older, go to Patreon.
Yeah,
out of control, she used drinks and drugs to numb her painful feelings, often to the point of passing out. Drew Barrymore began the process of rebuilding her self-esteem at a rehabilitation clinic at age 13. Wow. One more blurb. It says, Little Girl Lost is written from the heart of a young girl whose experience mirrors that of many young boys and girls whose lives are tragically changed when they turn to drugs or alcohol. Day by day, Drew Barrymore's making it. She knows other kids can make it too. It's pretty hopeful.
Yeah, and I have to say, it's been a really long time since I've read that like in depth.
Yeah.
Which sounds so silly because we've been like combing through this book, but
yeah,
it's very telling that that's how it ends, because the whole point of her writing this book was not only to tell her own side of the story, but she wanted to help other kids with similar problems. So I love that that's right there on the cover of the book.
Right. Okay. So a little bit of background on the book before we do like a summary, which we'll say is quick, but it's probably not going to be so quick because a lot of shit happens.
So Drew first did an article about her issues for People magazine. It was for a cover feature that came out for their January 16th, 1989 issue. She did that with Todd Gold. Little asterisk right there, little pin mark. And that led into them doing the book together. So Todd has parts in the books that are like third person insets. There's most of the book is, from Drew's POV. There's also a couple segments with her mother Jade's POV, which are interesting to say the least. So Drew began working with Todd on the book at the very end of 1988 when she was fresh out of treatment, not for the last time, sadly. And they spent 8 months together tape recording her recollections of everything that happened. So we kind of learned recently, it doesn't really sound like maybe Drew was there pen to paper, except for some of her writings from the hospital that she had to do as assignments. But she's sitting down with Todd and telling him everything. And he is, essentially ghostwriting for her.
Yep.
And the prologue of the book immediately lets the reader know that she was hoping to end it with this like happily ever afters, but she had relapsed, and 2 more chapters were added to the end of the book. So they I think we're pretty much like ready to go. And then we're gonna retool this, and she wanted to be honest, which is amazing. I love that the book just starts off, tells you right from the start before you even get into it.
I mean, this book is cool, guys.
It really is.
It's pretty cool that we have this. It's sad that it's recounting a story of a child who went through something, but this child became Drew Barrymore. She was Drew Barrymore,
And when you read what she went through and read the state of mind she's in from the majority of the book, and then you reconcile that with the woman she is today and all of her success and all of her happiness and positivity, it's just like, how can anyone not be inspired by her? It's a real survival story.
We're going to just kind of flow through the book. Like we said, we're not going to pull like actual quotes. There are some really great ones though. Anyway, so the book opens with some happy memories of working on ET, and then like hard cut to Drew being in treatment and the National Enquirer breaking the story as her addiction struggles. If you guys don't know what the National Enquirer is, it's a tabloid, but it's like
tabloid.
It's like tabloid rag mag.
It's like TMZ before TMZ existed.
Right.
That's the best way to describe it.
I mean, I think it was like weekly on every freaking newsstand. Is it still on the newsstand?
I don't know. I'll go tell you when I look for Us Weekly.
Interesting. Anyway, it's like so like synonymous with like tabloid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they broke the story. It's messed up. So the book goes into some general backstory about Drew's family history with addiction and how Drew began smoking, drinking, and using drugs, and as well as Jade's part in everything. So it kind of just like almost summarizes it, I guess.
Yeah.
Then the book goes on to describe what life was like in the hospital's ASAP program. We go into like a lot about like where this place is and all that in the Patreon. Ashley dug. I'll
just say, when Drew visits it on the Drew Barrymore show in season 2, they went to the wrong place. Just say that. So if you want to know the right place and why they got it confused, go to Patreon.
Yes. All right. There is one quote here, I guess, right? So Drew explains why she wanted to share her story. This is exactly what you were saying about the back of the book. Says, I didn't want to be considered another Hollywood tragedy. That's the last thing I am. I'm a success. That's why I decided to tell my story. If I learned anything, it's always better to tell the truth. And by doing so, maybe it will help other kids not to end up like me.
Oh, so sweet. All right. So the book gets into more about the Barrymore family history. We all know those stories. It talks about her very early life as a baby being raised just by her mother, Jade, and how she got into acting. There's the whole puppy food commercial story, bit on the nose. There's stuff about Suddenly Love, the TV movie that she did. And it gets into how Drew was just absolutely determined to be an actress, despite what the book tells us were Jade's reservations. So this was all against Jade's will.
Right. No, go take a nappy.
Yeah, go take a nappy. No, I want to be an actress. Okay.
I like how we're just like quoting this. People are like, what the hell are they talking about? Anyway,
you gotta be in on our jokes.
There's a lore to our podcast now, I realized. All right.
And then we get this story of Drew's first memory of her dad at age 3. And it is very violent, very scary. And that is like how she first comes to meet him. And he pretty much stays very much that way throughout her whole childhood.
Yep. And we're continuing on Drew's career. So at age 4, Drew gets her first feature film role in the movie Altered States, which is like sci-fi. I feel like I need to rewatch it. I might actually appreciate it weirdly now.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Maybe we go over one of those weird, like those couple weird movies at some point, like Bogey and Altered States.
Double feature.
Right. All right. So it starts to explain in the book why Drew loves acting so much. This is something we know about her. Like, this is like something that stuck with her whole life and still sticks with her.
Her whole life. Yeah.
Right. Drew loved acting so much because there was a feeling of belonging with this on-set family, quote unquote. And this is like, it literally, like, she's called it a tribe. She calls her the work family. Like, she really, this became her family. Drew felt extremely lonely at home, and it explains that Jade was constant at work, and Drew had this longing for her dad. She just wanted a presence, I think,
didn't have to be him. No.
I mean, in a way, it's like she was
just the idea of a dad.
The figure. Yep. She was looking for that figure always. That's a theme. She finally got to spend a little time with her dad, and he ended up being abusive and putting her hand in a candle flame. Ugh. So hence, maybe he wasn't the right person that she needed to be around, but she had to learn this lesson by literally being burned. I think that's what he's trying to say. Like, is he trying to tell her, like, anyway?
Yeah. Oh, he's saying, like, pain is in your mind.
Right.
So all that kind of, like, rambling BS he used to do. Like, I know him, but we know.
We do, kind of. Feels Buddhist, he's, like, kind of like, it's in your mind.
The flickering Buddha in the corner,
right.
Like, those are all his kind of things he would say.
Right. So, Drew said she fell in love with the script for E.T. and easily landed the part of the little sister Gertie. We know that there was a whole, like, interviewed for Poltergeist and then got E.T., that whole thing.
They interviewed me for Poltergeist. Said she's not really like the girl in the park.
I could do little Drew all day.
Yeah, you could. All right. And of course, we know, people know, maybe we know, but other people don't know. Drew had the best time filming E.T. Speaking of father figures, Drew had Steven Spielberg on the set of this, and he was really one of the first adults who felt like that parental figure in her mind. She sort of like saw him, I don't know, he brought himself down to like the child level and like
totally
looked at them in the face. Like that's what people know about Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we just, if you're new here, we dispel the myth. He was not her godfather who just put her in his movie.
Yes.
They didn't know each other. He became a godfather type figure in her life because they bonded on this movie. She's the reason he wanted to have kids. He saw she was lacking very much in structure and family, and he took on that role symbolically. So just to set the record straight.
Is proverbial like the right word to use?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know. But anyway, yes, thank you for saying that.
So Jade quits her jobs and her own like struggling acting career that had been going on and becomes Drew's full-time manager. And then E.T. comes out, and they were totally unprepared for how huge that movie was. Like, how
couldn't be.
I mean, it became the biggest movie of all time.
Right.
And Drew and her co-stars literally became famous overnight. And 7-year-old Drew does like all this press. She's traveling the world. She goes on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. She hosts SNL, and she's still the youngest host ever to this day. Like, a lot for a 7-year-old. And
I'm just going to say really quick, we were just looking at pictures of like the promotion for ET. And I think you said something about like, oh my God, the photographers or like all the kids waiting for her autograph. Like it kind of made you feel weird. And it's because of this book that we feel that. I know, like we know how she was feeling, scared.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming for her. And then going back to school after all this was totally difficult. She doesn't fit in anymore. She's getting teased. They call her ET, which makes no sense.
Right.
She has yet another abusive encounter with her dad, where he's doing like karate kicks to her and stuff like that. And then she decides she does not want to see him anymore. And I think she really doesn't for the rest of the book. Like, I don't think she sees him again until she's a teenager.
That's wild. They talk, but I guess they don't see each other.
Right.
That's kind of weird.
It is weird. And then she does another movie called Irreconcilable Differences, and it's totally opposite from E.T., the filming experience. It's really hard. There's like fighting on. It's just not enjoyable. And she considers quitting acting because it was just that rough.
Okay, so Drew then, and this is like, it kind of like goes through her biography, but I think it's good that it does. I don't know. It tells us a lot about how quickly her career was climbing also.
Totally.
So she lands the lead role in Stephen King's Firestarter, and we have an episode about that, by the way.
Yes,
temporarily moves to Wilmington, North Carolina. And she says filming is an exhausting experience, and they're doing a lot of late nights because it's like fire, and anyway, they want the nighttime. Drew becomes what she calls like an honorary member of her stand-ins family, the Wards. Do we talk about the Wards for a second here?
Oh, I mean, we can just say we met them, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, if you want to hear about that, listen to our episode about going on the Drew Barrymore show, which is also crazy, guys. Let's get back into this. The meeting the Wards was just totally surprising. They were very sweet. So anyway, we kind of like reading this, knowing them is like weird.
Yeah,
knowing
it's like
them.
Characters out of a book coming into your real life.
I think that's
very
what you
strange.
said to them.
What it felt like to me. I don't know. If I probably just said that privately.
Probably. Anyway, so the Wards, they were exactly what Drew was craving because she was so unhappy with her lonely home life. So this was like the epitome of family, right? Just lots of stories about what it was like to be part of such a quote unquote normal family.
Yeah. Mom, dad, brother, sister, like, go to church, eat dinner together.
White picket fence. Like you can only imagine, right?
Yeah.
So at the wrap party, Drew bet some crew members that she can down 2 glasses of champagne, which she does, and passes out. Back in LA, Drew and Jade began going out to parties and events on a regular basis. So you said earlier, she's 8 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I know there's a lot of in our Patreon episodes when I'm just like digesting information that's so upsetting.
Yep. So they go back to North Carolina the following summer to film Cat's Eye, which we did like a combo episode for these two. Another Stephen King story, and gets to basically live with the Wards again. So she like has to go through this, but it's also she's like it's breaking her heart each time she's like leaving this family.
And this is that's another reoccurring theme in her life, getting close to people. I mean, it happened on ET as well. She feels like she's part of this family. She has to say goodbye and leave. Like, that's hard to understand as a child.
Why she holds on to her like old friends so much. Like her friends are her family. Totally. And also like, just like having met these people, which I know it was like 40 years after they had lived with her. But they were very warm. Like I just sent, and like Drew's warmth, like anyways.
Yeah, they probably were a really formative part of her personality. Like it's how she wanted like a home life to feel. It's crazy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Drew's now 9, and she hated going back to school after filming Cat's Eye. It's like super boring in comparison to her party life. Like she's doing clubs at night and then expected to go like do math problems and
have a normal life in the daytime.
Yeah. She doesn't perform well at school, and the teachers and the other students are absolutely horrible to her. There's specific examples in the book that are just heartbreaking. So club life becomes her sanctuary, and she starts wanting to go out every night. Like, why not? What's cooler than that for a 9-year-old? Yeah. And she's accepted there. She's part of the group. Like, this is what she's always wanting. And so she starts smoking cigarettes and sneaking drinks to mimic the adults that she's partying with, of course. And that includes the Brat Pack at Rob Lowe's birthday. Just have to include that name drop.
Yeah, why not?
And anytime she's caught doing something like this, the punishment doesn't stick because an event comes up. So we got to go out on the town again. So I guess you're not grounded anymore. And then there's also lots of really fun stories about her crush on classmate Brecken Meyer and how they learned how to kiss with each other. So that's definitely like a fun little sidebar.
Yeah, I'm picturing the interview with the teacher. Right?
Yeah, that's not about Brecken, but
oh, it's not. Okay, it's about somebody else.
Yeah. And that was the first kiss.
That's right. Okay, so now jump forward. Drew is 10, 11. Work starts to slow down for Drew because she's reached this age where she's between childhood and teenage. So awkward. We all know what that's like.
Yep.
Lots of upsetting stories about like partying and drinking because she's trying to escape this like awkward feeling. Having access to that stuff at an age, I don't know. Your mind. Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, anyway.
We have opinions. We have a lot of strong opinions. It's okay.
Right. So Drew's friend's mom eventually casually offers pot to Drew, which she loves, and begins to start smoking regularly.
Including apparently in New Orleans in a Motel 6.
Yep. And so this cycle begins of feeling horrible about herself and self-medicating. So this is like becoming a coping mechanism, a huge one.
Yeah.
Then while this stuff is happening, Drew gets a role in a film that's filming in Germany, and that's Babes in Toyland. We have an episode about that. It's freaking crazy.
Both the Firestarter Cat's Eye and the Babes in Toyland episodes are really fun because those movies are, there's some shaky stuff in there. And sometimes talking about those ones are even more enjoyable than the good ones.
Totally. So also while she's in Germany, there's some wild antics with Rod Stewart's band. And she is 10, 11 at this time, and she dates a 15-year-old on set.
Yep.
All right. Dates. They're dating.
Yeah.
And even talks about them like making out, maybe.
Yep.
So Drew, when she gets back, she changes to a school that goes up through high school age. So this is like elementary through high school.
Yeah.
I guess it's like private schools, right? So so she begins to party with the older students who could drive.
She's access now.
She also, I feel like, at this point is talking about like how these sort of people who she can relate to. She sort of like can relate more to the older kids because she's like a working actress, and then she has to go like live this normal life.
And she knows how to party, and the high schoolers are like, cool. Now we have like our little 12-year-old mascot hanging around with us, and she can smoke and drink too. Like,
so
party.
And during this time, Drew, of course, I guess maybe I want to say, of course, she becomes more and more alienated from her mom. But I just want to say about that really quick is like, I feel like Jade keeps saying she was always there. I guess maybe she wasn't working at this time. So it's weird that she like says.
I think her always there is talking about when they would go to events and parties and clubs. But now that Drew has friends with cars, like, bye. Like Jade is no longer around, and I don't think that's what she's referring to.
And I feel like, I mean, I guess we also know that Jade didn't know what was going on, supposedly.
Yeah. And also, like when you said, of course, she becomes more and more alienated from her mom. It is, of course, because she saw Jade as this like thing that got in the way, like an obstacle to her going out and having fun. If Jade tried to set any limitations, she's like now the enemy. Like don't
you said,
mess up my life. Yeah,
there was no punishment that stuck because for whatever reason, but also whatever. Drew basically did what she wanted.
Yeah, very much so.
Right.
So there's a whole section where she's spending a lot of time at an unnamed Italian actress's home. You can read between the lines or you can go listen to Patreon to find out who that is. And she's hanging out with her 2 sons, particularly partying through the night with the much older one. So there's that, which I hate. Things with Jade just continue getting worse, including an incident of verbal abuse from her mom that culminated in Drew slapping her. That's a real shocker little incident. Drew's totally miserable and depressed. So then she has to go to New York against her will to film See You in the Morning. And this is the first time she is not even excited about work.
And I love that you it's written, you wrote it as against her will. Or that you said against her will, because she's literally saying, like, I don't want to do it. It
jumped out to me reading on this read, like, her being like, I don't want to do this movie. And, well, too bad. Like, this is good for your career, which, that really bothered me. So they go to New York. Drew befriends a 17-year-old model named Stacy there, and they start going to all the New York clubs together. Like, just no one cares how old anybody is. Drew's 12 at this point, about to turn 13.
Right.
She's constantly fighting with Jade. There's a whole time where she goes on a rampage in their apartment. She breaks vases, a pitcher of iced tea. She then takes money from Jade's wallet and says, "I'm leaving, bitch." So that's kind of where we're at there, just to give one little example.
Right.
And she also gets a high school senior boyfriend named Bobby. And so she's usually staying either at Bobby's house or with Stacy. Stacy lives with her sister, and she's rarely coming home. Maybe stopping in to get some clothes and then roller skating down the streets of Manhattan away.
The roller skating. Is
so
amazing to imagine. I would love to see a picture of 12-year-old Drew roller skating in the streets of Manhattan. Imagine if someone has that.
Ooh, let's put it out in the universe right now.
This is going to be a new old thing next episode.
Yeah, yes.
All right. So speaking of this boyfriend, Bobby, who is a senior, he's really very toxic. He's possessive. They're always fighting, and it sounds like it's quite tumultuous.
Yeah, there's a part where they're slapping each other at a party.
Right. Don't like that. Bad. But Drew romanticizes it, and she had a hard time saying goodbye to him when filming wrapped.
Yeah.
So then we're back in LA. Drew's surprised to learn that one of her party friends, Chelsea, is now sober after going through treatment.
Drew's like, what a loser.
Right. And then not immediately, but she ends up trying cocaine for the first time at her school's prom and is instantly hooked. Mm-hmm. I'm still thinking about how this chemically messes with your brain. There's probably a reason why there was a lot of backlash with her mom fighting like that. I don't know.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know.
And
dopamine and I don't know.
What you said about how she's instantly hooked. I mean, the book makes it sound like she's just Coke, all the time.
Right.
No exaggeration.
But also just imagine her acquiring it, this 12-year-old. So anyway,
oh my God,
one night after staying out way past curfew, she comes home completely wasted and tries to tell her mom to leave the house. She's literally trying to demand. I think we talked about it in the Patreon, but I kept thinking for Jade, imagine going through having been with her dad, Drew's dad, who did this shit, and then now Drew's doing it.
It's definitely mentioned it somewhere.
Right.
I've just read something. I don't remember if it's the book or one of the articles at this time, but she did have that is my child turning into
scary
her dad? Yeah.
So speaking of that friend who just got sober, Jade calls Chelsea's mom to have her come over so they can take Drew to the treatment program. So here we are, 2/3 through the book, I guess, or something like that.
And Drew's 13 at this point. So I always want to hammer home her age because it really is just so shocking.
It's important. Yeah.
So young. So 13-year-old Drew, she's admitted to the ASAP treatment program in the middle of the night. There's a lot of details about the program and what the intake process was like. At the center, she's dealing with rules and boundaries for literally the first time ever in her life. Mm-hmm. And she's miserable and furious about being stuck there. After a little bit of time, she starts to sort of warm up to the program. She's like coming to terms that she has some issues and about her unhappiness with herself and all her shit with her parents. But only 12 days, so not even 2 weeks after she checks in, against medical advice, she is taken to Northern Nevada to film the movie Far From Home. So again, this is like the second project in a row that's like, she maybe shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Yeah. Like, she's just starting to get in the swing of things in rehab, and they're like, we gotta leave. We got this movie we gotta go to.
She's got work to do. She's got
It's really important, Far From Home.
She's got to support us. She's got to go.
Yeah.
So Drew managed to stay sober for the 2 months of filming, even though she was still trying to act like an adult and going out to casinos and gambling, which is just wild. Like, I think she says something in this part about like looking like the age or something. And I'm like, maybe, because like, I mean, I don't know.
And maybe, I talked about how it would never work in Las Vegas these days. Like, this is Carson City. I don't know what it's like up there, but like you can't even like stand next to a slot machine for very long if you're not 21 before they come and they're like, hey, get out of here.
Things are different. I mean, let's also say like, this is the 80s.
This is the 80s.
We haven't been saying the year, but like, guys, we say this book came out in 1990 and we're talking about, you know, late
the 80s is a free for all time.
It's a time. All right. So Drew checks back to ASAP when filming's completed, and she realizes that she experienced what's called dry time, where she's hanging out with people who are using substances, even though she wasn't herself. So basically it's like not as bad, but you're still surrounding yourself in those things. 6 days later, Drew checks out again to go to New York to loop some dialogue for See You in the Morning. So in New York, guess what? She calls her friend Stacy. They go to a club, and Drew breaks her sobriety by doing coke. And there's this whole, is this the thing where they're in the bathroom?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting exchange, like Drew's thought process. But after this is one of the craziest things in the book, right?
This is like the number one, like, wow.
Right.
To me.
So is she still 12?
She's 13.
Okay. So 13 years old. She does coke with her friend Stacy, which leads to this famous coke-fueled incident of Drew stealing Jade's credit card, secretly flying to Los Angeles. She's like convincing the gate agent, like, my mom gave me this credit card to buy myself. Of course. Anyway, it's a whole thing. She books a flight to Hawaii, gets in a minor car crash, and goes on a shopping spree until finally getting stopped by 2 private agents who are hired by Jade to take her back to ASAP. And I think they like end up like encountering her at their house. So Drew ends up going to their LA home. The whole thing is like, what?
It's wild. You definitely are going to want to hear the play-by-play if you're not familiar with the story. Like, that was a very brief summary. She's doing coke like nonstop, like to the point that her friend was even like, I think that's a little too much, you know?
Right.
It's
a binge. It's a binge.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. Hold on. Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
We didn't say it at the top, but I feel like I want to say we're not here to like shame Drew.
Oh,
or
absolutely.
like put any of this stuff like in the spot, like it's going to shot, like it's out there, and we're just, I don't know. I guess I just wanted to say that. Like, I feel like we're not here to be like, can you believe how like wild and disgusting she was? It's more like, I don't know.
It's more like, wow, this girl struggled and had some real issues, and look at how she turned her life around. Hell yeah. She's amazing. We don't blame her.
This is all to celebrate the result.
Yeah. We're not even like blaming her mom too much. There's some things that I can't help myself for blame her for, but they were a bad combo.
Right. I guess I just had to say it because I felt like, oh, there's this like part of me that's just like, I don't know, being eaten by the negativity. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's continue.
I'm glad you said it. Okay. So Drew is back in ASAP, and she's super rebellious and withdrawn for a while, but she eventually comes to terms with the fact that like this binge, she has hit rock bottom at this point. So she starts making some really self-aware lists of her issues and working on herself while Jade is intentionally kept away from her. And progress is really slow, and it does briefly go backwards for a little bit when she starts dating this other teen in the program named Rick, and he's a total loser jerk. He sucks. We don't like Rick. She's punished with ITP, which was intensive treatment program, a record number of times, including once after being caught in Rick's room. So she's still acting out. It's not like she's just like, okay, I want to be cured. Let's go. Like she's trying, but she's also still rebelling because that's who she is, right?
Yeah.
And during all this, Drew's paternal grandfather passes away. And this really deeply affects her and makes her want to work harder at the program. And it's a very touching segment that also has a whole chapter in Wildflowers. So it's one of the few things that you see in both books, really.
Right. Which we're going to be doing Wildflower next over at Patreon, guys. So if you want to hear us talk about that and all the other fun chapters in Wildflower, do it. Drew in the program is continuing to work on her self-worth and to face her issues with her mom and dad. But this theme of her parents and her self-worth is over and is still,
and they're very tied. Like when we read this book, we're going, oh, no wonder she feels like shit about herself. No wonder she talks this way to herself. It's all very clear when you see what she was growing up with.
Right. Drew is determined to earn the right to something called growth group, where she'll be able to leave the hospital with other patients to do fun activities outside the hospital. Which she does eventually achieve. She starts to spend some time with David Crosby, the musician, if you don't know who that is, quite a prolific musician, and his wife, Jan Dance, who act somewhat like sponsors to her. And I'll just explain what sponsors is if you don't know sobriety lingo. It's basically people who have gone through some kind of recovery and can guide you. It becomes your personal guide. Drew did some role playing with her counselor's husband, who had known Drew's dad. So he acted out being her dad. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it was to help Drew work through some issues with him. It was kind of a cool part in the book where, I don't know.
Yeah. It always stuck with me. That part.
It's neat. I mean, I don't know. I guess also that somebody who knew Drew's dad, I feel like maybe she didn't really have a chance to except for her mom. I don't know.
Yeah, but her mom never talked about her dad. There's a whole part where she's like, I don't know how you met. I've never seen pictures of you guys together. Well, we gave her a picture of them together, but that's a whole other story.
Yes, we did. There's there's some lore to us, guys. Drew was able to arrange a phone call with her dad, and she came to this conclusion that she truly needed to let go of him. She decided she could love him, but she didn't need him in her life. And she realizes he can't really be a dad to her in any kind of traditional way.
Yeah.
So it's
and really makes peace with it. And it's we both went, whoa, she carried this for the rest of his life. At 13, she was able to come to terms with that. And that was okay from then on.
I love knowing that she found a way, somewhat unique and untraditional way, to keep him in her life later. I know she kind of helped support him, which maybe is weird, but she accepted him for who he was.
Yeah. Right? 100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So 13-year-old Drew gets her discharge date in December 1988. And shortly after that is when the National Enquirer breaks the story. It's God, she was so close. And despite all the media frenzy that comes out of that, she stays focused on finishing out her treatment. And funnily enough, once she's released, she films this teen rehab TV special called 15 and Getting Straight. It's a after school special at the exact same hospital where she'd just been released. So that's just a funny little coincidence.
Why?
I know. I still want to know more about that.
Yeah. How that was arranged. If they're just
yes.
we already know some people who've come out of here. You'll be very comfortable here.
Yeah.
No.
So Drew decides to tell her story in her own words to People magazine, as we mentioned above. She continues to have ups and downs, but she's committed and hopeful about her recovery. The book is going to end here. She's alive. She's doing great. Yay. And then hard cut.
Hard cut. Yeah. So it's very, I think it's really cool that not cool that it happened, but that they were able to do this, because I feel that probably added an element for people reading it of realness.
Totally. And okay, wow. like if you're an addict and then you read the story, but it all ends up fine and she's recovered and great.
Right.
That's probably a different feeling than, boy, she thought she was good, but she relapsed. Like, I can relate to that.
I don't know if it's like, I don't know where I'm getting this exact phrase, but what I've heard, I guess, is like recovery is not linear.
Oh, I love that.
Right. So like,
yeah,
it shows that it's not linear. So unfortunately, what we're getting to is Drew relapses by smoking a joint with her friends at both her 6 month and 8 months of quote unquote sobriety. So she continued this lie and was celebrating these 8 months and then smoking pot, celebrating the 6 months smoking pot. But she keeps it a secret from everyone, which makes her feel really guilty. And she's holding on to this for a while. She starts dating a 22-year-old actor, quote unquote, Peter, who eventually begins spending some time and forming a relationship with her mom instead. And we know that this is kind of a thing that Drew has alluded to, that her mom might have dated people that she dated because she wanted to like be her a little bit. Is that what she said?
Again, we have the exact audio if you want to go listen to her talk about that on Patreon. We're just going to keep telling you guys. We don't have time to get into everything here. You got to go pay your $1 and get the deets.
Yes. And we still have a little bit more of this to go. And then there's a really wonderful surprise at the end of this episode. If you read the title, you know, but we have something juicy. Okay. So there's lots of juicy stuff in the book, but there's more juice here too. So she starts acting out because her mom is dating her ex-boyfriend, whatever. I guess they are all kind of like dancing around them dating too. They keep saying like they're hanging out. They're
explicitly said, but it's very, you can read between the lines.
Right. So Drew moves out of her mom's place to live with her friend Edie, quote unquote. Do we say who that is here? Or is that a named name? Okay. So we know who this Edie is. They go into their own apartment and she works odd jobs to support herself. And it says she's a doorman at clubs, which we found to be like so wild, but also like, what? What I said was like, okay, not only do I want to see Drew Barrymore roller skating in Manhattan, I also want to see little Drew Barrymore as a doorman at a club.
Checking IDs? Like what? What's happening?
Aren't you Drew Barrymore?
Aren't you 14?
What? So Drew ends up smoking pot again and falls into a deep depression over everything that's going on. She's hiding her relapse and seeing her mom and Peter together. Like she's just not in a good place. And we are basically to the end of the book. Shit gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Again, content warnings here. So Drew gets like out of control, hysterical. She's in this deep depression. In front of her friend Edie, she attempts to slash her arm with a kitchen knife as a cry for help. She calls it, she felt it was this giant exclamation point. So like, please, I'm in pain. Mm-hmm. She's taken to a hospital. And when she's there, she calls her mom and admits to her that she had gotten high. And then she's immediately taken back to ASAP. And she says, we loved this quote. She says, "We need to do something about my mother." So Jade is sent to her own treatment program in Arizona to deal with her codependency and to try to learn how to be a parent. Mm-hmm. The book ends 13 days before Drew's about to be released for the last time. It is the last time, with a sense of hope about her relationship with her mom and her sobriety. But she admits that she can't know for sure what the future will bring. She just needs to, quote, do the best she can. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of awesome because it really did have a happy ending. Like at that point, like as far as we know, there were nothing this dramatically of a struggle again until she got divorced from Will.
That we know of.
We know of.
Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've reached the end of the book. It has this kind of hopeful feeling, but also realistic. This like do the best she can is also like all you can do is the best you can. So let's get into the release of the book, which like we said was 35 and a half years ago, a little bit more than that. Yeah. Drew said about the release, she said, all these different publishing companies called. It was buzzing. They were going, she's got recovery, she's got time, she's got a great story. Please let us write her book. And she said, the reason I chose Simon and Schuster as my publisher was that they were more interested in what I had to say than what they wanted me to say, which is so strange.
Love that.
Right. And she said, of course, since I am not an author, I had to have a co-writer, and they were very flexible about who I would use. She said this in 1992. So it's kind of weird that that's only like 2 years after the release.
I know, but it feels like a whole different era of Drew.
Right. So it's kind of cool that she had a say in these things. Yeah. And that's something we've learned in a couple different ways. That
Interesting. Totally. You're right. So the book was published on February 1st, 1990. Again, happy anniversary, 35 years. Mm-hmm. And it was published by the Pocketbooks division of Simon & Schuster. Mm-hmm. On March 4th of 1990, it reached number 14 on the New York Times nonfiction bestsellers list, which is really cool.
That is cool. All right, we've got another quote from 1992. It says, Drew said, when it came out, I was very nervous. For the first 2 days, I stayed in my house. Then a couple of weeks later, my publisher called and said, I just wanted to congratulate you on being a best-selling author. I don't give a damn that I'm a best-selling author. Who cares? The point was that I reached tons of people. People would come up to me and say, I just read your book. I've been honest to my parents. I finally told them how I felt about them. And she said that's all that mattered. So that's awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah. A lot of the response from the readers were teenagers who were going through similar issues and really found that the book was helpful.
I would love to know, like, how many teenagers are we talking about? Hundreds, thousands? Like, how many people
that's a good question.
were affected that way by the book?
Right.
Okay. We can't know that. So the paperback was released in 1991. We have both. They're both different covers. Love it. And the book has become somewhat of a cult classic. Like, it's not just because it was helpful to people, but it's also like, it's a great Hollywood memoir. It's been out of print for years, and secondhand copies rarely sell for less than $50 these days. I feel like I see it average more like $75, which is wild.
Wow.
I know. You can borrow it online digitally from archive.org, just so you guys know. And now that we don't need to get into it all the time, I will let you guys know you can go in and take it instead, because only one person can read it at a time. There were a couple times where I went to go in and it was like someone else is borrowing it. And I'm like, no!
Yeah, because it's like for like an hour or something. Is it for like, it's so cool. It's cool that they have it, but it's also kind of like wild that, you have to like fight for it. Like a regular library, they only have a certain number of like digital copy.
I don't think you can get it at libraries for the most part. Like,
oh, wow.
It's really, it's become a rarity, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like just our final thoughts on the book.
Okay.
We didn't talk about our like experience first time around. We talk about that on Patreon if you guys want to know our like origin stories with Little Girl Lost. But I came away like, okay, like I just said before, it's a really awesome celebrity memoir. There's incredible behind the scenes info from Hollywood. There's name dropping. There's wild stories. Like anything about a child star is kind of got its own level of fascination built in. Mm-hmm. It's also a very frustrating read for me at times. I was just like, over and over again.
As a mom, I think
as a mom especially, just so frustrated with how many adults fail her.
Yeah.
But it's also like I already said again, so inspiring to see how she went from this to who she is now. Like you will read this book and it is so hard to reconcile that this is our girl Drew. Like this, her thought process, her angst, like her way of looking at life have changed so much because of what she went through. I mean, let's just take the window thing as an example. The whole internet made fun of her because there's this video where she's doing like renovation in her house and she discovers there was a hidden window behind a wall and she starts crying. And it's because she was locked up at 13 years old and like couldn't go outside in the world. So a window is like, just things like that. It's very much like where she comes from.
And I guess I just wanted to say about that particular thing, like she like has said it's what made her appreciate like the sky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She says, I think it's on
like not that she couldn't go outside, but she just couldn't go into like the real world for a while.
She says like she would see a traffic light and be like, do people realize how beautiful that is? Like, yeah. But yeah, reading this as a teenager when I first got into Drew was just like, woo, this is wild. This is crazy. Reading it as an adult, totally different perspectives, totally different empathy, totally different, just like, oh, I just wanted to, I wish I could have taken care of this girl. You know, it's really, if you haven't read it since you were a teenager, I highly recommend, just for like such a different point of view and a really different experience. And we were also digging so deep into everything. So
I guess like my final thoughts have to do, I mean, all those things you said, like, yes, but also like about like having read it as a teen versus reading it now, like the perspective of being an adult, the perspective of Drew, like knowing what she grew up to become. And you were saying something about like almost not being able to recognize the Drew we know now in some of this, but I also feel like because we are using it as sort of like putting together her like timeline of like who she is, like we're almost like studying her through it, which is like such a strange thing, but we call ourselves historians. We genuinely are like studying, which is interesting.
I mean, as historians, we're so lucky to have this as a resource. Like, this is incredible. It's such a like unbelievably intimate look into her young life.
It's interesting to be on the other side of like being a teen, where now I'm like looking at it from not only like a scholarly perspective almost, but like also just, having maturity, looking down on it. Like, I don't know. I literally was probably like close to the age. I think I was like 14 the first time I read this book.
Wow.
So maybe 15.
Yeah.
So like I would have recognized the angst, you know, like you almost recognize it in yourself almost.
Yeah.
I feel like we've said a lot. We've said a lot about the book. There's like more than 20 hours of us talking about the book on Patreon, probably. I haven't even done the math.
I know. Can you believe in here we've barely scratched the surface?
No.
Like we hit everything, but like it's just it's a lot that goes on.
So there's more.
There is more. There's a lot more. Oh my God. So the book is Little Girl Lost by Drew Barrymore with Todd Gold. And guys, we have Todd Gold on the show. Yep.
Yes, this man who told us he doesn't do interviews, told us he doesn't do this stuff, agreed to. There was a little bit of like time where we've been communicating with this man and breaking him down so that we could get this.
When you put it like that, it sounds awful. But no, he came to us very willingly at the end of it and very like he kind of said that he was honored. So that's why.
Which was weird for us.
Very weird. You'll hear all that.
Right. You'll hear it, but like the fact that we spent the time doing this was somehow we came to it with this mutual respect, which was like really kind of cool. Guys, this was so cool for us to do. So I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, so today we have joining us Todd Gold, who is a prolific journalist and editor and has collaborated on dozens of high-profile memoirs. He is the co-author of Drew Barrymore's 1990 autobiography, Little Girl Lost, and we are so excited to have him here. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for being here. This is so cool. I feel like we should mention to you that we were somewhat familiar with you as a person because of your interviews that you did way back in the 90s on Drew's E-Celebrity Profile, and I want to say A&E Biography as well. Do you recall that?
I don't recall anything, so this is going to be a tough interview.
We're going to take you down memory lane a little bit of like our memory of you and you having no knowledge of us.
Yeah.
It's great.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. So we wanted to get a little bit into like our history with the book, like when we first remember reading it and just how we're reacting as adults. Yeah, we both got our copies here.
We pulled our copies.
But I read this copy that I'm holding for the first time. I think I was 14 or 15 years old. So I would have been like right around the age Drew was when she wrote it. I don't have a lot of memories about it, except I was already a huge fan of her. So it was really incredible to get into these details about her life at a time when I was kind of experiencing teenage drama, my own. But since we've been going back to it, the perspective as an adult has been insanely like eye-opening.
Jarring? No.
Jarring and eye-opening. But
Yeah.
Ashley, go ahead and say what you were gonna say.
Similar. I mean, my funny story, Todd, about this book is that my older cousin, she used to give me her hand-me-down books. She was a big reader just like me. And as a 10-year-old or whatever I was when I got the book, I remember being like, ooh, like drugs? Like, I can't read this. This is scandalous. And so I put it away and I didn't read it for years until I came to know who Drew was and be interested in her life. And then I used to read it like seasonally. Like I would make this like, okay, every Christmas time and every summer I would reread it. I don't know what that was about. I was a weird teenager. But so I've read it dozens of times. And this most recent read through that Anne and I have done as an adult, as a mom, it's very shocking. It really is. Like, I think as a teen, we're just like, whoa, Drew was a badass. And now it's like, wow, this life is unbelievable.
Well, I'd be curious to know two things from what both of you said, and Anne, I guess especially you. What first attracted you to the book and why'd you read it? And then both of you mentioned that you've read it and reread it as adults, and it's really eye-opening. What about it is eye-opening, and what about it is so sticky?
So it's interesting because it came from this point of view as a fan of Drew at this time when she was like America's sweetheart, girl next door. And this is like, 1998, 1999. So her image was so different than what she was, in this book. So I think I came to it literally as someone who was interested in Drew's background. So it was like I consciously went to go and read this book. It's like this is part of the lore of this person that I love.
I like what you said about what do we find sticky about it now. And my biggest
and eye-opening too. Sorry, but sticky. What about it? Allows it to thrive and continue to interest you. But also, what is eye-opening, or what opens your eyes as you reread it?
I would say one of the things would be, how do you reconcile this person with who she has become today? That is so fascinating and amazing and inspiring to see her go from like these lowest lows to being who she is now. And in the book, almost feeling like she didn't know if she had any future. And now it's like, oh my gosh, everything that came afterward is so incredible. That would be one thing. The other thing I have a hard time with is how many adults fail her in her young life. And it just felt like no one was looking out for her. And that's jumped out to me as an adult much more than I ever noticed as a teenager reading it.
And I'll just say about the eye-opening thing, I think similarly to what Ashley was saying, sometimes it gives some perspective on why Drew is the way she is as far as like her self-esteem, like why she is so giving and kind, like comes from this place of like what she went through. And so I think when we are able to like trace back those steps, the way that she is like makes more and more sense. And we like kind of putting these puzzle pieces together of like her, because we're now literally considering ourselves historians. All this time we've been fans and, we were so young, and now we're like interested as full-grown adults. Like, we are older than some of these adults who were failing her in this book. Like it's fascinating. So that's how it's been eye-opening for me, is learning more about this person that I feel like I know a lot about, and then remembering how much more there is. I don't know.
Connecting those dots. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always surprised when it surfaces in the news. I think there was a piece a year or two ago in the New York Times.
I just reread that.
Somebody wrote about that. I saw on Drew's show that Pink pulled out her hardcover and talked about doing a book report in 7th grade on the book.
That's right.
And it kind of surfaces in all these different ways. And it's now, I think, probably 30 years old, 35 years old.
35, it is. Yeah. This is the year of 35.
Okay, so 35 years. And I think about the changes in culture and celebrity culture and how what Drew represents there, both, and how celebrity culture's changed, but how so much of the human heart remains the same in
Yes.
what interests us. And I think those are some of the reasons that it keeps surfacing. But I'm amazed because I look at it, I don't remember that much about it. I
Yeah.
remember certain things very keenly, but I look at it as, the first big project I did, and I'd love chances to redo it and make it better.
We totally get that.
Yeah,
But it is what
absolutely.
it is, and it seems to be holding up for what
I
it is.
mean, I don't know if you're aware that it's out of print, but you can't buy a secondhand copy for less than $50. I mean, it usually goes for 75 anywhere you see it for sale. So it's very coveted still.
Huh. It's
It's
interesting.
so interesting because I remember seeing the paperback on the shelf at Barnes and Noble.
Me too.
And being able to grab it for, $6 or something. Like, I remember that. So I know that I have like this old copy, and then I think I bought one because I was like, oh, I want a fresh one. Like, literally, you
Same.
can't find it. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Well, I remember when it came out and the excitement,
Of course.
and because it was the first book I had worked on,
Okay, we
and
didn't know
and it was
that.
very exciting, and it was also very nerve-wracking because we were nervous about the reception and whether people would be interested or highly critical,
Yeah.
Drew would react,
Yeah.
or family would react. But all that aside, I told you when I'm going to jump around a little, but when you first contacted me ages ago, and I told you I don't do interviews and don't ever talk about books, and um, at some point I began reconsidering be just to try and honor the effort in the work that you two have put into celebrating and talking about the book. And the reason I'm talking to you now is because I think you I'm the privileged one. You know more about it than I do, certainly. But I mentioned at some point in our back and forth that I had a box of from working on this book. I had a box of papers that I hadn't looked at
Yeah.
probably since 1989. The
Wow.
book, I think,
Wow.
came out in February of 1990, but
Yep.
uh, we wrote it in 89, and it took about 6, 7 months for it to be published, to go through the
Mhm.
editorial process. And so I pulled that box out today uh, to give you something different that I know that you don't have.
Oh my
And
gosh.
in your archives. Now you
Yeah, the
have
archivists and us are like, oh my gosh.
some of this stuff you do have. Um, but I thought I'd pull it out. And one of the things, and we're talking about the the way culture has evolved and technology and the way we communicate with each other. But I found there's this notebook, and so this is the original dot matrix printout,
Oh, wow.
our working copy that I would write and then give to Drew.
This is
And
like your manuscript, basically.
it's one of them. I'll show you a few. But what I laughed at as I'm looking at this is the first 160 some odd pages, 69 pages. I wrote the page number down. I forgot to put in a page number, so I had to handwrite all the pages. But
Oh,
this has our notes and discussion, notes from our discussions as we were going over the manuscript
it's
at some
amazing.
point. I don't know when. So that was kind of fun to find.
Wow.
And then I'm sure you have this. I found this original People magazine story,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you have.
Kicked it all off, right?
I picked it off. And then around that same time, there was a National Enquirer story
Yep.
about Drew.
We were just speaking about this. Yeah, you start the final chapter of the book with the headline.
Well, yes.
I love that you have this in your like box of stuff because that's so awesome.
So here's the original story, E.T. Star and Cocaine. And
Yeah.
it's really something to think back that, one of the reasons that I wrote a story on Drew in the first place, if I'm remembering correctly, and was to ward off the tabloids,
Yeah.
to give her a chance to tell her story on her terms, uh,
Hmm.
rather than the ambush, jump out of the
Yeah.
bushes style of the tabloids. So, I don't think that would happen today.
I
Um,
was thinking the same thing. I would love to think that we've come to a place where they're not going to do that to a 13-year-old girl. Like that is not going to
Right.
happen anymore because it's just, it's horrible that it happened without her, consent. But then I love that she turned it around and said, okay, let me tell the story.
But also
yeah,
they
as I
cut.
remember, she had very smart people around her, who were trying to control it. I really don't know much about what the decision making behind that, other than they wanted to control the story,
Yeah.
allow her to tell it on her terms.
Drew has made it sound like she was intent on doing that, like that she made
Hmm.
that decision.
Yeah, and that her people were kind of like, oh boy, what are you going to want to do? And then she said, I want to tell the story myself. And they said, yeah, we thought you were going to say that.
Well, yes, and I remember meeting Drew before we did the story.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you remember about that?
so just going to meet her and and talking to her, where she was deciding whether she felt comfortable talking to me. I guess she did, because we ended up talking. And but for somebody who was so young,
Hmm.
she was like 15 or 16 at the time. She was very much the boss, in control, and making a lot of her own decisions. That was something that uh, impressed me about her, and that I remember and she said very much the same thing herself, that she was kind of an old soul wrapped in a kid's body.
Yeah.
And that was a big, that was something I took away from that first meeting and subsequent conversations with her, was that
Hmm.
she had a lot of wisdom packed inside her. She had a tremendous heart. There was, for all the pain and hurt she'd endured, and the loneliness she'd felt, she had the potential for great giving and great amounts of love and a lot of smarts. And
Hmm.
I never had any doubt that she was going to um, someday make up for what she lacked.
Hmm.
It didn't guarantee an easy road, and I doubt would say that she's had an easy road,
Hmm.
but I think she's more than made up for what she lacked.
That's awesome. I love knowing that even in this time because, she is really it's dark at times. She's very depressed at times in this book. But I love knowing that that core of who she is and who we know her to be was there even then. Because it is really hard to be like, wow, this is the Drew that we know. She's having such a hard time here. She feels so bad about herself. But I love knowing what you said about her. Her heart was there. Her wisdom
Hmm.
was there. Like she was still who she is, which is
Hmm.
amazing and it's just really
Yeah.
lovely to hear.
I mean, I haven't seen her in person for decades now. Um, I do see her occasionally on
You're
television,
overdue.
Yeah.
but I have no doubt, I can tell that she grew up and into the person that she wanted to be, that she
Hmm.
knew was available to her if she worked hard. And I think she's like many of us, she got there by trial and error and
Hmm.
fearlessness to to continue to move forward and learn from her mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, she always talks about making those mistakes in front of people, which
Hmm.
is what's so unique about her is that she's been famous for almost her entire life. And, so like this was just one thing that she did in public, so there's like all this interesting stumbling and humbling and, and she really, yeah, it's amazing her resilience. We're always talking about her
Yes.
resilience.
Yeah, and the thing that my wife reminded me of, and I didn't really need reminding of, but it's worth mentioning, is she was always wickedly funny. Um,
Yeah.
I caught her when she was a teenager and in her early 20s, and she always had a great sense of humor. Uh, she wasn't just self-deprecating, and she was very funny when she'd make fun of herself, but she had a great eye for observation and spotting the funny around
Mhm.
us or around her and sharing that. So that sense of humor, I'm sure, got her through a lot.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what she says all the time. Like we always need a little bit of humor with the darkness.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Todd, do you want to kind of explain to us sort of what your process was with her? You showed that notebook, so you would write and sit down with her, or how much of, because we have in the book what is very clearly Todd's voice, and then we have what is Drew's voice, but how much were you involved in the Drew's voice segments?
Uh, they came out of our conversations or, conversations slash interviews, just asking her to run through the chronology and the details of
Mhm.
what happened to her, what she'd gone through. So some of that was very, almost literal translation from the conversations. Others was, a minor massage of what was in the transcript. But
Yeah.
she, I mean, she ultimately had 100%, say over the book. Uh, the process was that we do interviews. Most of the interviews, I think she'd remember this too. We used to go out to a restaurant, a hamburger place, and sit and have a big basket of French fries and talk for a few hours.
Nice.
Do
Do
you
you
remember
remember
where it
where?
was?
Yes, I do. It was a chain. I don't know if it exists anymore, called the Islands.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and so we'd go and order a big basket of fries and some Diet Cokes and talk for a few hours. Um,
Amazing.
Usually after school.
So you'd be there with your tape recorder just on the
I
table.
would. I
Yeah.
would.
Amazing.
Somewhere those tapes exist. Um,
I
Wow.
mean, that would be
yeah,
a dream for us to somehow have
I will
any
call you
like
up when I
yeah.
find them. If I ever do, I'll call you up.
Yeah, we would love like even just the tiniest like peak of that. That's incredible. Like, I mean, if you had to guess how many hours of recording, like if you had to guess, could you have any clue?
Yeah, probably 20,
Yeah.
Wow. It's a
20
lot.
hours of tape. And I probably have some tapes of whatever old magazine interviews were done with her. Um,
Because you recorded all of that. I guess that's
Yeah.
part of the job, right?
yeah, and I saved them for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know.
Amazing.
I have stuff here that might be interesting to share that I was going through related to that. Yeah, so I found some transcript from one of our interviews.
Oh,
Uh,
cool. Did you have to transcribe it yourself? Did you like have somebody that could transcribe it for you? That's a lot of work.
I transcribed it myself at the time.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh, I couldn't afford to have somebody
Yeah.
transcribe it. I I will admit, and for safety's sake, it's so the material was so sensitive,
Yeah.
Sure.
as
Yeah.
it is anytime you're dealing with somebody's life and their secrets.
Absolutely.
Which is there's almost I almost going through this material, there's almost a sense of betrayal, even though I know that some of this is in the book.
Right.
Sure.
And I was just reading, I was looking for something funny to actually share
We'd
because
love something funny.
I said she was very funny. And but here I just you saw me, I'm randomly
Yeah.
flipping through
Yeah.
this and I said, what was the situation the last time you saw your dad? Do you remember that? And she says, vividly, very well. We were at our friend's house in LA. And then for some reason, I interrupt her and I say, aren't these fries great? And she says, oh, they're the best. They're so good. and then she starts talking about her dad. So
yeah, we love that kind of. We are all into those little details. We love hearing stuff like that.
I had no idea what was in this box
I
until
love that it was like a time
treasure
capsule.
chest.
until about an hour ago. And so there's this envelope here, Drew B, it says on it. And I remember it. I remember her giving this to me when we were working on it. And this is full of letters that I guess the people who were in rehab, the kids who were in rehab,
Gave to her,
sent to her. And I haven't looked at them probably since she went through them and read them and gave them to me. We were probably looking for something to put in the book, but I'm not going to open them and read them.
Sure, yeah, that's very private.
Which we don't like to do because they belong to her, and if she ever wanted them, I have no idea what they say, but it's kind of interesting to see
that's
that
really interesting.
We'll want this someday.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
Here is the first galley.
Oh, wow.
And it has, this is how you got it back in the day. Now books are all electronic.
Yep.
But this was sent. You can see it's oversized.
Yep.
And this particular galley, it's really interesting. Again, I haven't looked at this for 35, 36 years.
Yeah.
So the process is interesting to me, but knowing what we know about the book now in retrospect. So there's this galley, it's nicely printed, and then you come to a certain part, and there's an addition that is pasted in that is just typewritten. It was obviously the extra chapters or addendum that was added
to because it was like basically done.
It was finished and then
relapse,
yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
that's neat that it's bound that way.
Really cool. That is really neat.
Yeah. I mean, there's no secrets there, it's all in the book.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to look at the process, and it's interesting to think about, how many people were helping her at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember a few, a lot of adults around her. I don't remember where her mother was, but when she did relapse, there was her counselor Lori, there was Betty, there was David Crosby and his wife Jan, there was the editor Jane, there was her publicist, her manager, all these people around her. I think helping her. I was not around her when all that happened. They brought me in later, as I recall, to chat with her once it was determined that she wanted to continue to go through with the book and add the extra material rather than scrap the effort.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that was a consideration.
But yes, but once again, and I remember being reunited with her to do the work, that last bit of work. And can't remember where we met, but I do remember her being very tentative and nervous that she had done something wrong or disappointed me. And we very quickly got past that and, told the story and ate our French fries and had some laughs. And I remember, feeling very good about her. Somewhere I saw a note, but that I made to myself that I had the sense that she was going to be okay. My note said, I think Drew's going to be okay and survive this and grow up and grow into herself. Something like that I wrote.
Wow.
So I feel good that I was right.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You actually told probably around the same time story that has, I mean, it stuck with me as a teenager when it was on the Celebrity Profile, where you were out at a restaurant with her and that she showed you on her wrist where she had like cut herself and she said, "But I'm okay now." And you said that was like a very Drew way. You knew that she was going to be okay. So it's like probably exactly what the notes you were just reading.
Good for me.
Yeah.
A little bit of memory still left. Yeah, the thing, is again, I said earlier, the thing I remember most about Drew is such a big heart, such a great sense of humor, a ton of inner strength and determination to to find herself. I think there were, I at the time had one child. I was married. I'm still married. Uh, I have three children. I think I had one at the time we wrote that book and another on the way. And um, and I remember always thinking about how different our lives were. She came
Mm.
to our house a few times,
Oh.
and I watched her play with my daughter, who was then about 3 years old.
Oh.
Um, and I saw just the tremendous capacity for affection that Drew had, and it balanced. It was in counterpoint to the the darkness she articulated, and I often sensed being with her, the loneliness, the darkness,
Yeah.
the struggles she had at home. Um, and it was always I hadn't been exposed to that in such depth
Right.
until I'd been with her. I'd been exposed to pretty horrible things as a journalist, but
Right.
nothing like that. And I always wondered, you know, as I watched her from afar grow up, uh, if the difficulties she must have had to overcome as a young adult and then as an adult around holidays and
Mm-hmm.
those family times.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really interesting, but not surprising, how she did overcome it. She built her own family, she built her own company.
Yep.
She ended up, you know, uh, test driving a few husbands and
Yep.
had some children, and and I'm sure she's a fantastic mom who I know nothing about her, but as a mother, but I I would imagine she is very attuned
Mm-hmm.
into being a mom and what kids need.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know how strict she is.
Well, it's funny that you say that. We were just talking about how in the book, and we want to talk to you about Jade, but in the book, she talks about Jade and it's not a mother daughter, they're friends, they're going to be best friends. And Drew has very, very clearly said that with her daughters, she says, "I'm not your friend, I'm your mom." So it's very easy to look and say, this is where that came from. And that's why she's not going to be that way.
She constantly talks about her like utter lack of boundaries when she was a child and how she's like learned even what boundaries are. She's like had to learn what that meant to set a boundary. Like she just
Yeah,
didn't, her mom set none,
Yeah.
seemingly. Um
right. Yeah,
I,
I can't speak to what their life was like,
right.
when I wasn't around her if we didn't talk about it. But, I think you probably, know more than I do.
We've gotten into it a lot. Actually, one specific thing that relates to the book and Jade is we noticed that Jade is quoted a lot throughout. But did she have much say in what was included in the book otherwise?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay.
I'm going to say that she did,
Yeah.
as Drew's, mom and the adults
Right.
in her relationship. I'm sure she read the book. I'd say 100% she read the book and had to give her approval.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Makes sense.
so she was never around.
For the recording.
Well, she wasn't around for the interviews, and she wasn't around dictating what should be written. That was really, based on the conversations I had with Drew. And as I
Right.
recall, Drew was the one who had the final say. I'm
That's
sure
good to
some
know.
had input. And I'm sure there was a manager who read it and a
Yeah, right.
publicist or, I don't know what other what others read and
Mm-hmm.
what say others had in the matter, but I'm sure that there was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's sometimes in the book where you're like, wow, I can't believe they like let that be said about Jade. And then there's other times where you're like, oh, it feels like Jade is like sort of putting her slant on things in this part. So yeah, we are just interested, like how much input did she actually have? And I'm assuming you sat down with her once or twice and got her little nuggets of information.
I'm sure I did. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I do remember Jade being around, and I do remember it being mostly pleasant, never
That's
unpleasant
good.
with me, but there was a lot of stress, between Drew and Jade and at
I
yeah.
bet.
times. And that could be typical mother-daughter stuff, Drew not doing her homework because, she'd done something, or it could be something more serious.
Right.
It ran the gamut.
Yeah, I bet.
We were also curious about, if you recall, like things that were maybe omitted from the story. Some of them seemingly maybe small, like, some TV movies she did that are just skipped completely. Or, we both recently realized, oh, that whole thing with Corey Feldman, like never even gets a mention, her little relationship with him. But we were wondering, are there reasons for these things or how does that happen?
No, there's not a reason. Um,
It just wasn't part of the narrative, maybe.
Yeah.
or, yeah, I can't answer that question. It's funny you mentioned that. As you're mentioning it, I do remember Drew going out somewhere with Corey Feldman. I remember being at the house, and there was a dozen or 2 dozen roses in Drew's
Oh,
room that Corey had sent.
oh my goodness.
And Drew was getting dressed to go out. It might have been some awards thing
It
with,
might have
The
been the
Oscars.
Academy Awards. In the timeline fits. They went together in 1989. So,
yeah, so it could have been that. I don't know what I would have been doing there other than an interview with her or running. Maybe it was running over um, some of the one of the drafts and getting
wow,
correction. But I do remember her going out with Corey.
it's funny.
But I
It's
can't tell
funny.
you why it's omitted or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't feel like there were things that like some legal department said, no, cut that out, or we can't include this person's name, or I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of weird nitty-gritty like that when you do a book like this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I that you bring that up. I think I came across the legal read.
Oh,
Mm,
I came across these these notes that I had, but they're the original chapter outlines. It says chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, little notes I made to myself uh,
cool.
on how the book would be organized. I'm so much more fascinated by that than
The process.
the process and that we actually did this and that it was the first one that I did.
That's cool. We didn't realize it was the first. I love
yeah,
that.
we
I
didn't
love
know that.
knowing that. It makes it like even more special
Hmm.
that that's like, okay, it's Drew Barrymore with Todd Gold. Like, that's a big deal. That must have been a big deal for you.
Um, it was, and it was a big deal when it made the bestseller list. Uh,
Yeah,
and it's a big deal that people like it and find meaning in it. When it came out, it received all sorts of mixed reviews.
of course.
Uh, Many people finding it or criticizing it as exploitative of
Mm,
a teenager, typical Hollywood exploitation, where are the adults in the room? Shame on
right.
the editors and everyone else. And I'm sure I received my share of criticism for that, and I've blocked it out. I
That's good.
Some of that has merit, and I don't, and some doesn't. It depends.
Hmm.
I I just think that over time, it's found an audience. People really appreciate it. It's touched a lot of people. I once checked into a hotel maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and a guy checking me in asked if I was the Todd Gold who had worked on this book, and he said how important it was uh, for various reasons when he was a kid and
Wow.
had read it.
Cool.
And and there's probably a lot of people out there who were touched by it, and as evidenced by the two of you, and that New York Times story, continues
Yeah.
to resonate in some way. I've never sought Drew out to see what she thinks about the book all these years
Mhm.
later. If she doesn't like it, if she's embarrassed by it, if she wishes she'd never done it. Um,
I don't think so.
No, I don't know how much she's really spoken very specifically to it in more recent years, but she's just kind of like she doesn't regret anything, you know. This is part of her story. This is,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a big part, but
And she
this is
calls herself an open book still.
yeah.
So I think it's right in line with who she is that she did this.
And also knowing how it did help so many people. I think, after the fact, after it came out kind of more in those years, she spoke about that a lot. Like, I'm so glad that, I got outed by the National Enquirer. That sucked, but I got to turn it around and then help people who were going through similar things.
Hmm.
well, I think, yeah, I think in that respect, and I was going to say that it reflects who Drew is, and or who she was going to become, but who she was at the time too. She was very interested in helping other people.
Hmm.
Um, she I think had many, you know, deep connections with some of the other teens in the program with her. And I believe that's probably because she was as open then as she is now,
Yeah.
and willing to share.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that taught her that too. Like she talks about how grueling, in the book, how grueling those sessions were in therapy and how that has made her. And actually, I've been to her live show, and there's something about the way she runs that room when the cameras aren't on that almost feels like a group, like therapy group circle. It's
Yeah, that's she's made that comparison. Like that was like the training
Mhm.
ground for the talk show.
She seems to have liberated herself from many of the, demons of her past by being completely honest, not,
Hmm.
Mhm.
letting those traumas fester in secret. She's as free. She seems as free as you'd expect. That doesn't mean she doesn't have her deep, dark moments, but
Right.
she seems to be an example of somebody, who has acknowledged and embraced the past in a very therapeutic and positive way. I just came across this letters report from People magazine that followed the first story that was in People magazine, and I'm just reading it again for the first time. This was dated January 20th, 1989, so it's 36 years ago, and it says the young teen's first person story of her alcoholism and drug addiction prompted a higher than average response from our readership. Nearly 90% of respondents applaud the young actress's courageous battle against those addictions and wish her continued success with her recovery, including 13 readers who are themselves recovering from either drug or alcohol misuse.
Hmm.
In addition, it appears that Drew's revelations have affected a few of our readers' lives. An anonymous reader writes, after reading the story, my 14-year-old sister came forward to let the family know that she too had a problem with drinking. Like many others, I'm sure we always had the attitude of it would never happen in our family. By sharing her story, Drew allowed us to catch the problem before it got completely out of hand. So that's nice.
It's amazing. So People magazine like sent you that as sort of a here's the follow-up.
Yes, that was the follow-up after that initial story.
That's
That's really
so
cool. We
cool.
were kind of wondering in my research when we were doing the chapters, I came across that you had done like a sort of similar story for People magazine for David Crosby. Was that how you got connected to Drew? Because he like said, I like Todd, work with him.
It may have been.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That David Crosby story was very memorable. David had just gotten out of jail uh,
Wow.
and overcome was in the process of overcoming a bad addiction.
Hmm.
He I remember being this little small rented house where he lived, and he played me a song on the piano uh, called "Oh Yes I Can,"
Oh yeah, I know that
which was
song.
very beautiful, which became the title song on his second solo album, "Oh Yes I Can." Very profound, powerful moment. I
Amazing.
liked David a lot. It was a strong and lasting connection between us. We'd see each other periodically over the years.
Oh,
I'm
And
sure that's not a coincidence then. As
maybe,
somebody who was like a good, influence in her life at that time. I bet he put in your name. It's like putting a good word for you.
maybe, and if he did, I'm grateful, appreciative. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I remember David being a presence in Drew's life, David and his wife Jan.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you look back to see, the people who pop up in your life, as helpers or guides, and they aren't always there, but their memory is or their influence remains.
Hmm.
And David's certainly one of those people.
It's really cool.
That's really
Um,
neat.
do you want to share the story of the really lovely thing that you did for Drew recently that probably all of our listeners know it happened when she got reunited with her childhood stuffed animals, but they probably don't know that you are the reason for that.
Yes. So that's a cute story. Uh, and I wish my daughter was here to tell
Oh,
that story. So my oldest daughter, who I had mentioned earlier, she was 3 years old when I was working with Drew.
yeah.
And I have vivid memories, as I said, of Drew coming over and playing with her. And I think we went out to dinner a couple times, and and it was interesting watching Drew's. But my daughter has vivid memories of Drew
Cool.
being around. Anyway, so she somehow heard, and you may know more about this than I do. She heard that Drew said she didn't have really many artifacts or things from her childhood,
Hmm.
and and that daughter now is, I think she's 37 or 38 years old. She's a therapist. She works primarily with women and girls who have experienced trauma or eating
Wow.
disorders, or very,
Wow.
very tough young woman. Um,
Amazing.
but she heard about this, and she remembered that she had a couple stuffed animals that were Drew's, that were left from a large collection that Drew gave me. So shortly after that Corey Feldman date, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
use it as a marker in time. I was at Drew's house, and I think she was cleaning out her bedroom, throwing things out. I don't know why, but she offered me her stuffed animals to take to my daughter.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she put them all in a big green hefty garbage bag. There were probably a dozen and a half animals
Wow.
Hmm.
or stuffed creatures, and we had two left all these many years later. Uh, I I don't know what else happened. My daughter claims she gave some to Tom Green at one point.
Really?
To give to Drew. No,
Whoa.
I don't know what the mechanics around that are.
So she
Um,
might have gotten
That's
some back at some point, and
fascinating.
I don't know. But anyway, so Drew didn't have anything. My daughter found it. We had a big pink bear, and we had a little ET doll that had been sitting on the top of a closet in the
Oh my
bedroom that
God.
used to belong to my daughter. And they'd been up there for at least 25 years. Uh,
amazing.
and so I said to her, well, let's give Drew these. these dolls. Let's get them to her. And so I am friendly with Valerie Bertinelli,
Hmm.
who is on a regular on Drew's show.
Yep.
And I mentioned this to Valerie, and she said, "Oh, I'll happily give these to Drew.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure she'll love it." And I was nervous that, it was kind of intrusive or that, she wouldn't love it, that she'd given them away and they were gone for a reason.
No, not true.
But anyway, so Valerie took the bear and the ET doll, and along with a brief note from me saying
Oh,
hello, and a longer note from my daughter,
Oh.
oh.
uh, and gave them to Drew. And I remember seeing a little video of that
Hmm.
online. I can't recall exactly what happened, but I think it was a hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was.
absolutely.
appreciated it.
It was, and we could tell she was really touched. And what's interesting is the video of her saying she doesn't have much from her childhood
Yeah.
was related to our birthday surprise for her, where we used our collection to represent 50 years of her life for her 50th birthday for her
Yeah,
show.
they did that. They did that interview with her saying she didn't have the items from her childhood backstage before she came out and saw everything. So it's very full circle.
That's great.
So
And
the
what did
reason that happened was because we did this. What were you going to ask? Sorry.
I was going to ask, what artifacts did you provide for her?
Well, she didn't get to spend a lot of time looking at it. And much like how you were like, we'd love to give these items back to her. That's kind of like, we're always an open door for that. If she ever said, hey, I want these things, great. But we have like quite a few things, I don't know if you recall when Jade sold a lot of Drew's belongings. Yeah, in the late 90s, she did a huge auction and sold a bunch of items. Mixed emotions about that, but I was able to get my hands on just two little pieces. One was like a ballet outfit, leotard and tights and ballet slippers when she was 3, as Jade's writing in it, Drew, and then like a pen from the Just Say No campaign. And yeah, like just things we've collected here and there. Like we have a chair back from the set of Firestarter, and like a letter and a picture that Jade and Drew sent to a publicist once. Just things that she definitely doesn't have. And we kind of recently came to the thought that like, wow, her daughters might want these one day, and we're happy to hand them over. We're just out here trying to preserve her legacy because she's never saved anything.
Yeah.
And thank God that you were able to reunite her with something so touching.
I think from what I recall of the video, she really seemed to like it, and I hope, I think her kids will like it even more.
Yeah.
Those stuffed animals, they were, I think one was a big pink dancing bear, and the other, as I said, was an ET doll, and
Yep.
I'm sure they went over well. And it was fun. It was fun giving it back.
I bet. And we found the photo evidence, of her in 1987. There's a picture of her in her bedroom and all the stuffed animals around, and there's that distinct bear. It's like, oh my God. And Valerie seemed to enjoy seeing that. She responded to that and was like, oh my gosh, yay.
Yeah, two of the nicest people I know. So
incredible.
So I guess the last thing I think I'll ask, you've kind of talked about watching Drew grow up, but I want to see if you can summarize what it's been like for you to watch Drew evolve and grow into this icon that she is. What is that like for you, like knowing where she was when you wrote the book?
Well, it's funny because I think she was probably already an icon. She's been an icon in several incarnations. I mean, there's Gertie in E.T. That's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
And Kid in Firestarter, that's pretty iconic. And and then when I think about who Drew is now, or presents herself on TV and what everybody says, I'm just not surprised. I think that's what you get. That's where you end up if you work on yourself and you're open and you decide that your life's work is going to be about sharing your gratitude and appreciation for this miracle of life with people, and you approach it with a fearlessness of acknowledging your ups and downs, and especially your downs. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what I think Drew is so good at, and what people react to, and why her show is a success, and why it seems like such a natural progression from child actor to adult actress to producer to talk show host. I feel like she uh, had something to say, but was also, unlike so many people, willing to listen and really listen and react to what people say. I know I've read that she's been criticized for sitting too close to people, being too touchy-feely, but I think that's part of the process when you are intent on creating, in front of TV cameras and an audience, a moment of intimacy and trust, uh,
Hmm.
in getting somebody to have uh, genuine conversation,
Right.
and to uh, draw out real admissions, not stuff that you're going to hear on every talk show, but stuff
Right.
that actually uh, allows those watching and listening to have their aha moments of recognition. And I think because she's such an open book, she's able to do that. She gives those moments of herself, and it allows people to feel comfortable enough to share the same thing. So
Hmm.
I'm not surprised. I mean, that's a long way, but when people have two options, you remain damaged, um, or you accept that all of life is full of light and dark and change, and you embrace that, and you see what's going to happen next, and you try to get better and better, and learn more and more. And I think that's really Drew's gift right now, in this
Hmm.
moment that she's having, is she's decided to share all that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
She's finding value. I don't think it's any surprise that she's doing it too with her kids growing up. And she probably, you know, it probably makes for some good table conversation. Uh,
I know what we're like. Has Olive picked up Little Girl Lost yet? And been like, tell me about this part, Mom.
she probably doesn't have to, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Drew probably just told her.
She's probably told her, or she looks at her and goes, "That's my mom," and she's living her own life.
Yeah.
I'm sure is encouraged, and to have her own, you know, triumphs and mistakes, and figure things out for herself. The,
Hmm.
the the advantage she'll have is she's got a really insightful, strong mom. Something Drew probably didn't have.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. I think Drew's, where you'd want her to be, and more importantly, where she'd
Where
want
she wants
herself
to
to
be.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, a lot of courage, and a lot of determination to get to where she is. Uh,
Hmm.
and I feel a great deal of affection, even though I haven't seen her for
Right.
tremendously long time. I feel a great deal of affection for her, and happiness for her. It just, she's an inspiration, for real. And
Yeah.
so that's where I take, Little Girl Lost in the book was an important stepping stone in that path. And
Hmm.
you know, so I take a lot of pride in the work we did, in the little placeholder that occupies in her life.
Damn, girl. You are a writer.
Lovely.
Oh, that's so perfectly said. That's exactly how we were like, this is just one little part of her life, but it's so important to so many people. And it's just, it makes up who she is.
Well, I think you two should be commended for, devoting so much time to this book and really investigating it. I feel bad that I came upon you late in the
That's
game
okay.
and didn't go through the first 30 chapters with you. And
we'll just have to go back and get our lingering questions and see if you can pull them out of your notes.
yeah, it's really such an honor to know that you've done this and taken the time to, focus on this work and expand on it in the way I mean, when we did this book, computers were new, desktops were new, the iPhone was still 20 some odd years away from being invented. The
This
world
story
was
would be
very
really different. Yeah, this story would be really different if there was any form of a cell phone
or
social media. Imagine social
God.
media in that time. Her story would have been blown way before it was if there was social media. So it's incredible.
What I was going to say is compliment you on taking, this book that was done at a certain point and really expanding the story and being part of it. Now this is part of that literature. It doesn't just belong to me. It's by Ashley and Anne too.
We'll take it. Is that can we write it down here now? That's so kind of you to say. Oh my gosh.
We'll write the second edition. No, just Little girl found.
I would love to know, given the way we've just been talking about Drew and what her trajectory was, it would be fascinating to know what happened to some of the others who were in rehab with her. Did they manage to come out as good? What were their paths that they followed?
Absolutely.
Because again, Drew's path, there weren't a lot of adults there to guide and shape her. She had to build her own structure, her own family, and to get to where she is today.
She's really sort of a miracle when you think about it.
Well, she's an inspiration. She's definitely an inspiration, and part of that is just her willingness to share everything that she's been through and draw it out in others and to show, as I keep saying, life is full of ups and downs. It's constantly changing. We experience the light and dark. We slip up. We triumph, and and we learn mostly that we're all pretty much the same. We're all rowing in the same ocean.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all human.
Exactly.
We are all
I think
human.
she would love that.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, Todd, this has been so great. Thank you so much for taking this time to do this with us. We so appreciate it. I know it's a testament to Drew that it pulled you out to do this with us in a way.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's a testament to our determination to get you to do this. But I think that that's evidence of your affection for her, is that maybe you don't do stuff like this, but I'm so glad that you were willing to talk about this and talk about her with us. And it's been lovely.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you very much. Certainly occupies an important place in my life, my career, but more it's really a thank you to both of you. That's the reason I did it, for the time and the effort and the enthusiasm you bring to the book. And as I said, the way that you are extending the story and keeping it alive in 2025. It's fascinating to me to see how a book that was written in 1989, published in 1990, 35 years later is expanded upon, by both of you. So thank you.
That's really cool. Thank you so much. Like, what a way to close out this thing we've been working on for a year and a half. It's just the ultimate. Thank you so much. And if you ever need help with that box, you need an archivist to take care of it for you. Anne's here.
You know who to call.
I know exactly who to call.
It would be a dream for us to just see it. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Todd. We really appreciate getting to meet you and chat with you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great one.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, still reeling from that, still pinching myself. Can't believe it happened. Thank you, Todd, for giving us your time. I mean, we kept laughing because in Little Girl Lost, it says he leads a distinctly un-Hollywood life.
Yes.
So we're like, so cool that he opened his treasure trove. Like, we could go on and on. We are really grateful to have had the opportunity to be where we're at, that that's even possible. Can you imagine as a 14 and 16-year-old reading this book, being like, one day we'll get to ask him all these questions about it, and he'll show us his materials from working on it.
Guys.
Wild. What is life?
Guys, we've made a new friend in Todd Gold. Never would have known.
And I think it'd be really cool to say here Drew's acknowledgement to him in the book. We're just going to quote it because it's great. It's she says, Todd, thank you for giving me a great ground to stand on and believing in me. And he still does.
Yeah. It's sweet.
That's so true.
He has such a fondness. I feel like he says affection. Like we've read like a really lovely quote that he like put up when the whole strike was going on. You guys heard it. There's this affection, and he seems to understand why we would be interested in this wonderful person. Like he seems to get it. Again, thank you so much, Todd.
Thanks for celebrating our girl with us.
Yeah.
And congratulations, Little Girl Lost, on turning 35. Amazing. Not that I had a choice, but.
Congratulations on, you know what? Congratulations on having this relevance that it was enough.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he is honored.
Grateful.
Because we're like maybe we're digging up old work, but also we are excited about it.
Yeah, we're very enthusiastic over here.
Guys, if you got to the end of this episode, we know it was a long one. We hope that you enjoyed all of this. Like we said, there's so many more hours out there. So
you can just keep getting us in your ear holes as much as you need
if you want that. I don't get it. But
if you like having us in your ears, you should tell other people by rating on Spotify. You can leave stars. It takes 2 seconds. You can write a review on Apple Podcasts. We have been going way too long without any review over there. Please, please, please. You can follow us on Instagram at How Do You Drew Pod and also at Drewseum. We love talking to you guys. You can also leave comments now on episodes on Spotify. So if you go to the episode, there's a little place to leave a comment and we can write back and forth with you. We love interacting with you guys.
So fun. Okay, so also visit the website at howdoyoudrew.com to see the episode gallery for this episode. And every episode we do, there's some love that goes into that too, and it's always great. Peruse thedrewseum.com. Visit our museum while you're at it. Sign up for our Patreon. We've mentioned it a lot in this episode, but it's worth it.
Patreon.com/howdoyoudrew.
This whole episode was just a commercial
Patreon
for our
ad.
Patreon.
Yeah. If we get like a couple bucks out of it, we're going to be thrilled, guys. We literally mean a couple. And $1 a month. Okay, guys. Don't forget to send listener mail. We like to talk to you. We've said it a couple times at howdoyoudrewpod@gmail.com. And I guess we'll see you guys all next Drewsday.
Oh my gosh. We did it. Little Girl Lost complete. Let's close the book. Goodbye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedrewseum.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.